There we go. All right, super. So sometimes it takes a little while to go live into Facebook, and I do like to check that we are live before doing the whole thing. So we'll just check,
It
and
says my end meeting is now streaming live on Facebook, so I hope it will be, yeah.
it's beautiful, it's there. Okay, so good morning. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Spotlight session with Sunny today. And we have Brooke Bones here today. Is it Bones or Bounds?
Bounds,
Bounds.
bounds.
Right. So
Yeah.
we have Brooke Bounds with us today, and I'm very excited to have this conversation with Brooke. But before we get into the actual conversation, I'd like to welcome all of you here that are coming on live. So I would love it if you put down the bottom hashtag live and where you're coming in from today, because I have a lot of Australian members in the group, and I know it's 7 p.m. for you guys out there, 10 a.m. for us in the UK. If you're coming in on the replay, just again put in that you're coming in on the replay and where you're coming in from. That would be really lovely. Now, through this conversation, if you have any questions whatsoever, please type those questions down below. Now, because there is a slight delay between us recording and me seeing the questions, we may not get to answer all of the questions, but we will endeavour to answer as many as possible, and we'll certainly answer them afterwards anyway. So, just to give you a bit of introduction, my name is Sunny Love. I teach new and existing female entrepreneurs how to create a profitable online business whilst creating a lifestyle of dreams, passion, and choice and freedom. And that's what's important. I think that's what's really important. If we go into business for ourselves, we really want to combine it with our lifestyle. So today I'm going to give you a little intro to Brooke as well. So Brooke is the breakthrough specialist. She helps powerful women find their power and confidence by helping them change their old stories and beliefs so that they can live the life they really want without feeling like they are wearing a mask of confidence. Now that's really an interesting bio, Brooke.
It is, yes.
So many. I think that you're absolutely right. So many women do wear a mask of confidence. And it's
Mm,
and it's not real, is it?
no.
So I think my first question has got to be, how are you the breakthrough specialist?
Okay, I'll keep this as short as I can. I went through quite a traumatic childhood. I was born with a cord wrapped around my neck, and the doctors told me that I would probably never walk, and if I did, I would never run or ride a bike. Um, so that was kind of my first introduction to the world. I didn't get the memo about walking. I did eventually walk when I was about 3, and it took me, till I was about 6 to learn to ride a bike. And then I went back into the hospital and said to the doctors, "Look, I can ride my bike." I said I would, which was quite an interesting thing. But also on top of that, my mother was very abusive physically and mentally. So I had quite a traumatic childhood. She suffered with postnatal depression, although back in like the late 60s, that wasn't a thing. So, yeah, we didn't really bond. And all through my life, I wanted to be happy and I wanted to be confident, but it was chipped away from all the things she would say to me. Like she would say, "I hate you. I wish you died at birth. You didn't even have the audacity to be born properly. You're ugly. Nobody's ever going to love you. Don't ever talk about your medical issues because people will think you're weird and will run away." So I spent my whole life kind of hiding and wanting to have that confidence to do things to help people, because I thought there must be other people in the world like me. I'd love to help them. And I had this mask of confidence thinking, okay, because my mum always said, we are a perfect family. Make sure that you show that when we're out, don't cry, behave. So I had to put on this mask. And it was horrible because I had this mask of confidence, but inside I just felt like an empty shell. And when I started talking to other women about it, I realized that they were the same, that a lot of women, especially sort of the same age as me, who have been through things, because like in the early 70s being smacked was a thing. It wasn't,
Mm.
nowadays social services would probably be a lot involved in things, but and they were told to keep quiet and not say about it, because you don't talk about things that go on in the family outside of the family. What will the neighbors say? What will auntie whoever say? So it was growing up, I felt very disconnected to myself. I knew that I had a purpose in life. And although I've never been really religious, it was one of those things that when I was 7, I remember just looking up to the sky thinking, I'm here for a purpose. I've got this mother for a reason. What is it? And I've eventually discovered, a few of my friends said, you really should get into helping and coaching people because you've helped us so much. And then I had a friend invite me to a free weekend of coaching, like a diploma thing. I thought, I do a lot of this stuff these people are talking about. So I actually then went on to get my coaching qualifications. But throughout my life, I've obviously had the trauma of being born with issues, and then my mother doing what she'd done. Then I went from the frying pan into the fire by being in an abusive relationship, then getting married, got divorced, ended up having 4 children and being a single mum.
Wow.
So I've got, there's a lot of things I've had life experience that people say, oh yeah, I love how you just get me. It's like, yeah, because I've been there in some way, shape or form. So I'm absolutely love it. And I realize that people wear this mask of confidence because they're still running that old story about, whatever somebody said. It may have been a teacher that said, oh, you're no good at maths, or you'll never amount to anything. And people carry that around with them because
Yeah.
if that one thought they keep repeating, it becomes a belief and it becomes who they are. Well, I've always been like that. I'm clumsy, but I've always been clumsy. But you don't have to be that way. So I then thought, right, okay, I believe everybody's a diamond. Everybody's got that light to shine out in them. Nobody's broken. Nobody needs fixing. Their diamond is just buried under layer upon layer of old stories and old beliefs. And what I do is I have them break through those stories and those beliefs so they can create new ones that are fitting for them today, not the ones when they were 7 years old and felt like they were useless and powerless and had no confidence, just like I felt. So I
Yeah.
know what it feels like to feel unconfident, to feel powerless, but I also now know what it feels like to feel powerful and have that confidence. And my sort of tagline is from scared little girl to stage, because I now stand on stage and tell my story and inspire other people. And I say, look, if I can do it, you guys can do it too. And it's how I love to live my life, by inspiring people and say, look, this is what is capable of you doing. If you just look at your story and think of how is that actually true now. It may have been true when you were younger or you thought it was true, but is that actually true now? And it's
Yeah.
changing that thought pattern around. So hence I help people break through their old stories and becoming the breakthrough specialist.
Mm. So in a way, you've kind of inspired yourself to do what you do. I mean, it's an interesting story, and I'm certainly not going to take the spotlight off you. But there's so much that I can resonate with, because I had a similar upbringing in the fact that I had a good young childhood, but then when I went into my teenage years, my father had left, gone through divorce. My mother was an alcoholic and then was very abusive during her alcoholic time, her sort of drunken times. And she would say similar things to me, that I was stupid, that I was ugly, that I wouldn't make anything of myself, that no one would love me, no one would want me. Not like your sister, she'll actually find someone, you're useless, and etc etc. And it was funny because I think for me, I was always a very sort of happy-go-lucky person, and actually still am. But I did go through a phase where what had been said to me early in my life had affected me. So it's almost like I had this sort of shield of, oh, I'll just ignore everything that gets said. And I was able to get through that. And it wasn't until later in life that I had that dip of confidence where, and it wasn't even in the beginning, it wasn't a mask of confidence, because I truly was very confident. But then I had that dip where I lost my confidence, and then I had to wear the mask of confidence because I was thinking about those things that were said. Well, maybe she was right. Maybe I am stupid. Maybe I can't be loved, because I'd gone through an abusive marriage. I then went into another abusive relationship, and it was just a story that kept repeating itself. And I'm thinking,
Mm.
it must be me. It must be because I'm stupid, I'm not lovable, and all of those sorts of things. I mean, fortunately, I've come through the other side, but I've done a lot of work to come through the other side. And I've met people like you on my journey that have helped me get through. So I would really love, for our audience today, I would really love to know, what the process is, or you know, I know that the processes can be quite long. Sometimes it can be immediate. It depends on the techniques that you use. But how do you help people break through those old stories? How do you stop them from holding on and repeating them over and over again, and get through to the place that you're at now?
Yeah, good question. I do a lot of different techniques. One of the main ones I do is like a pattern interrupt, and I will say something quite profound that will stick in their mind, and then they won't um, be able to think anything differently in a way. So like I just recently done a boot camp, and I said to all the people in the boot camp, who doesn't like bullies, and everybody put their hand up, and I said, well, actually, I said, we're all bullies because we bully ourselves daily. And they were all like, but everybody remembered that. When I spoke to them all afterwards, I said, what's the one thing that really resonated with you? Is that the fact that I bully myself, because we talk to ourselves in a very, detrimental way. If I said to you, if you, the things you say to yourself about yourself, if you said them to your best friend, how long would you have your best friend? You're like, well, I wouldn't even think about saying them. And we're very quick to defend other people. Like if we drop a cup or something, I'm like, oh, we're so stupid, or we're clumsy. But if somebody else drops a cup and they say, oh, I'm stupid, oh no, you're not. It's just the action that you took. But we'll quite easily put ourselves down and not then say, actually, no, it wasn't. We'll just think that we're clumsy or we're stupid, or whatever the story was from when we were younger, what a teacher may have said, and a parent. And it's not necessarily that you've had parents that have been horrible to you. They may be well-meaning, but because whatever fears they had and beliefs they had, they would have passed on to you. So it's understanding that you can change your life because our thoughts create our reality. Because like I said before, whatever thoughts we have, if we keep thinking them over and over again, they turn into a belief, which then turns into our reality. So I talk people through and ask them questions like, okay, tell me where you're stuck in your life, what's blocking you? And they'll say, and I'll say, okay, is that true today? And they're kind of like stop, and I see them sort of stop and thinking, oh, actually, no. Right, okay. Like for instance, I had a client once who was absolutely petrified about going on stage and talking. I said, oh, so tell me, what comes up when you think about going on stage and talking? Well, when I was 7, I did a play at school, and all the children in the front started laughing, and I forgot my words, and then I panicked and I wet myself.
Oh, right.
Like, oh my goodness. I said, well, if your subconscious is remembering that, of course you're not going to want to go on stage. I said, so actually, I said, let's have a little quick chat about this. How's your bladder? How often do you wet yourself nowadays? She started laughing. She goes, I don't. So, oh, good. I said, fine. I said, so that one isn't true today. I said, so when you go on stage, you're not going to wet yourself. She went, no, I don't think I'm going to wet myself. Okay, great. So how many children are going to be in this talk that you're going to do? She went, none. I started laughing. I said, okay. So you're going to have no children laughing at you. I said, so the people that are going to come to talk, that you're going to talk in front of, how many of those are going to be laughing at you? She went, none of them. I said, why are they not going to be laughing at you? She said, they want to learn from me. I said, okay, worst case scenario, you get up on stage and forget your words for a minute. What's going to happen? Are they all going to stand up, walk out, or laugh at you? She said, well, no. She said, because people will probably relate to me and understand that sometimes we forget things. And with that conversation, she then went on to go on stage and talk, and it was all those stories were broke through, and she had new ones. But she was running that mental story in the back of her mind that, taking her straight back to her being a 7-year-old. And of course, her subconscious mind was like, oh no, we don't do that because that's scary. People will laugh at us. Something drastic may happen. And of course, if you're going to think those thoughts, you're not going to want to go ahead and do. So I said, okay, what are you going to do when you go on stage? What are you going to help these people with? So we sort of recreated a new story for her, and she absolutely loved it. And it was like, my goodness, I can't believe the difference in me and how I felt. She said, yeah, I had a few sort of like nerves before I went on, but once I got on there, she said, and I actually told the story about how I was nervous and how I had the help to break through this and change it. She said, and people came up to me afterwards and said how they could relate so much to it. It was the most amazing talk I'd ever done.
Yes,
So
yeah.
it's relating to that. Is it true today?
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's actually because we run these stories through our mind, we need someone like you to come to us and say, well, does that make sense? Is it logical? Is it still the fact now? And you're absolutely right. There are so many times when, I mean, I've spoken to lots of people myself, and they run these stories through their minds, and I look at them, and to me, it's just not logical. Um, I'm trying to think of one now, where they just run the same story constantly through their mind, and it takes, is that what's called breaking the pattern, when you actually confront it, when you actually say to someone, well, is that still true? Is that the
Yeah, it's
breaking
like a
of the
pattern
pattern?
interrupt. Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
right, because it is one of those moments where you can do that to other people, or someone does that to you and you go, oh, oh, now hang on a minute. No, actually, yeah, no, it doesn't make sense anymore.
So when people say to me, I always, and then follow it on with something, I say, okay, so tell me how you always do that. Well, actually, like sometimes I do that. Or actually, yeah, occasionally. And it's like thinking about because the words we say, you know, are very, very powerful because they are our thoughts and
Mm,
our subconscious mind hears our thoughts. But when we actually say them as well, it's like our subconscious hears it twice. It hears it through the thoughts and it hears when we say it out loud.
mm,
So when we say something like I am and follow it through with something like I am clumsy or I'm stupid, then that's what the subconscious mind hears. And that's what the subconscious mind thinks that you want more of. So it will create that. So it will create that, keep creating that belief, that reality, which will confirm to you that that's what you are. But if you say I am and say something positive, then it will create that reality too. I
yes.
often have clients come and say, "Oh, I'm so fed up of being in debt. I'm sick of this debt. If I ever get money, stop talking about debt." And they're like,
Mm,
"Well, I didn't realize I was." And like I had one lady to come to me and said that she was struggling with something. I said, "Well, tell me about it." And she said in the conversation that she was struggling 15 times. And I said to her afterwards, "How many times do you think you said the word struggling?" She said, "One or two." So actually, I said, I was counting that with 15 times. She went, "I didn't." But people get into a habit of saying things that they don't actually realize because it is such a habit. Like, getting up and cleaning your teeth, having a shower, you don't kind of think about those things. And we don't always think about the words we're saying and the effect that they're having on our minds. you know we often think about when we're going to say something to somebody else, will it upset them, will it affect them?
mm,
But we don't think about the things that we say about ourselves and how it will affect us. And
mm,
that's how I like to work with people. And then once they get through that, they start having that inner confidence, so they can throw away that mask and think, okay, I'm actually confident. I'm not having a conversation trying to second guess somebody. I mean,
mm.
I used to have this terrible thing where if somebody was in a room and called my name, by the time the 20 seconds it took them to walk over to me, I'm like, do they look angry? What did I say to them last time? Are they upset with me? And my heart would be pounding, and it was like my palms would be sweaty. And then normally say, "Oh, hi, Brooke, how you doing?"
Mm.
And it's like, but that's so exhausting because you're having this conversation and all these things going round and round in your head really, really quickly. But now, if somebody calls my name, I think, "Oh, somebody wants to speak to me." That's
Yes.
great. What we're going to chat about today. But it
Mm,
was because when I was little, every time my name was called, I was in trouble whether I'd done anything or not. So that was
mm.
an old story that was running through my mind. But when I worked on that and realized actually people generally don't want to have a go at you just because they've shouted, "Hi, Brooke, how you doing?" across the room.
I know, and it's amazing how, so many of us can go through the worst case scenario of that sort of thing happening. Someone calls your name and you're immediately thinking of all the negatives as
Yeah.
opposed to any of the positives. And it also dumbfounds me that what happens often as well in life is that so many good things can happen, like one after another, after another, after another, and then one bad thing happens. Like, for instance, let's say that someone puts a post up in social media and they get lots of wonderful, lovely comments, and then they get one negative comment, and all they do is focus on that one negative comment that came through rather than
Mm.
all the wonderful, positive things that came through. And it's the same thing about ourselves because, like you say, you bring into reality what you're thinking. So when you're actually constantly thinking, are they angry with us? Have I upset them? What did I say yesterday? Blah, 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 all those kinds of things, you're putting yourself into that position where all you're doing, even though that person is talking to you, all you're doing is actually hearing your own head giving you the negative conversation that's going on.
Mm.
And of course, like you say, you have to put on this sort of bravado, this braveness of showing, hey, look, I'm okay about it. And then you'll walk away and you'll be going, oh, did I say the right thing? Was that okay? What are they thinking about me? And it's an awful way to live, because you're not living the joy then, are you? You're just not living in joy.
Yeah, and I touch on this, as I said before we started interviewing, that I'm writing a book in 90 days. And I touch on this about going to the negative default and why we do it. And it's quite interesting when you think about the no's, because when we're growing up, as little babies and toddlers, we're told, no, don't touch this. No, we don't ever hear, well-meaning parents and teachers, oh yeah, go touch that hot fire and discover what you do, because you won't touch it again afterwards. We're no, because we want to protect them. So it's
Yeah.
like we hear no so many more times than we hear the yeses. So when we're in that kind of state and that sort of stress, the negatives always will pop up. So it's
Mm.
understanding that and thinking, okay, how can I change that? And it's like you say about the one negative response. It can go back to when you was a child and you got 9 out of 10 spellings correct, and your parents or teacher said, well, why didn't you get that one right, rather than focus on the 9 you did. So we're brought up to think about, oh my goodness, we need to think about that negative one,
Mm.
because that's the old story. So it's
Yeah.
thinking about how our childhood patterns, and like I said before, even if you've had really amazing, well-meaning parents, they would have still, they would have brought their beliefs in and their view of the world into how they brought you up, and they may have had fears and things and beliefs that weren't, healthy for them, but they've instilled them in you because that's all they know, so they don't always mean to do it. And like with my mum, she didn't really know how to love me, I believe, because she didn't have a good relationship with her mum. And then obviously with the issues with me being born, she had postnatal depression. So we never really bonded like that. And she had lots of other issues as well. So I understand why she was like she was. It wasn't because she was set out to do it. It's just that she didn't know how to.
Mm.
And a lot of parents don't always, especially if they've come from a traumatic childhood themselves as well. So it's understanding that whatever happened in your past, and this is what I'm really, really passionate about, doesn't have to define your future. You can change that, you can create, and that's what I help my clients do. I
Mm.
help with where do you want to go, what do you want to do, okay, let's create that. And I do actually do hypnotherapy as well. So I do like a couple of sessions where I talk to their unconscious mind and clear out anything. Because some people say, I feel blocked, but I don't know why. So we really dig deep. And I'm quite well known for going like an inch wide and 600 miles deep.
Mm.
We get the root cause out of it. And then people just go ahead, and do things that they never thought they'd be capable of doing. Like on my boot camp, for instance, one lady was scared to put the Zoom on camera, and she would never speak up on a Zoom. The next day, she was doing a Facebook Live with having the Zoom on and talking in the group as well. And she went out and did a Facebook Live. And it was because of what she realized with the stories I was saying about how stories work. And
Mm.
it's so powerful, and I just absolutely love it when people can change. Like I said, sometimes it could be quite quickly, other times it can be a process of unraveling all the different things. Depends on how much people have gone through and the different stories they've been carrying around for years. I mean,
Yeah.
we wouldn't physically carry around a suitcase full of junk that we didn't want, because it would make our arm ache.
Mm.
But we mentally carry around junk that's no longer serving us.
Yes.
And when
Yes.
I say that to my clients, that, oh my goodness, yes, that's why I'm tired. That's why I feel heavy. And once we break through those stories, they all say, I feel so much lighter. I've had
Mm.
women that have had issues with weight loss, and we've talked about mindset, and they've lost the weight. And they're like, I'm not even dieting. I know, because the weight wasn't an issue with the food, it was with your mindset.
Yes.
I've had, so many people lose weight without having to go on a diet whatsoever. So
Mm.
it's just because of the reason they've got the weight on. It is a reason from their past, a story that they believe in. So it's breaking through that. So yes,
Mm.
it's as you can tell, I'm very, very passionate about what I do.
Yeah, I think it's wonderful what you do actually because well, I mean one of the things I mean we're nearly to the end now and I could actually go on talking to you for absolutely hours because I find this particular topic absolutely fascinating and I actually studied NLP with Richard Bandler many years ago and I used to help people myself with their weight loss, with overcoming phobias, breaking through negative belief patterns and all of that sort of thing. I did it years and years and years ago. But I do think that whilst I don't practice, it actually really helps in life generally.
Mm,
Um, and I'm absolutely fascinated in what you do, and I think that we should have another spotlight session to carry on. Um,
absolutely.
yeah, and for those of you that are listening, either on the live now or the replay, just pop down some of your what you feel your limiting beliefs are. But that actually brings me to a question that I'd really like to ask you. I'd like to carry on if you've got the time. So do you have some more time?
Yep, I'm
Yeah,
fine.
good,
Yep.
good. Because one of the questions is, how do we know? How do we actually know that we have a limiting belief?
Because you'll be wanting to do something, but something will stop you. So, for example, I work with a lot of people that would love to be more visible online, but they've got this fear of doing a Facebook Live, but they don't know why.
Hmm.
So when we get into the session, we have a chat. It's okay, like tell me about yourself, and depends on the words they say and what. Because I'm very, very good at listening and picking up the different words that people say, and then I'll dig into that, and often people say, oh my goodness, I didn't realize that was the thing that was stopping me. But we once we uncover it and we know what it is, we can then put a plan in place to change that and to move on forward. So, like, for example, one lady that I was working with who had a fear of having doing a Facebook Live is because she didn't like seeing her face, because she was always told that she was ugly,
Oh,
but she didn't relate the two. But obviously when you're doing a Facebook Live, you're looking at yourself, so she couldn't stand to do that. And the thought of just doing a Facebook Live, even for a couple of minutes, just looking at herself, was all she could hear was, I'm ugly, I'm ugly, I'm ugly. So we then
right.
changed that story, and then she was absolutely fine, and she went on and does absolutely loads of Facebook Live. She's always popping up that she's doing another Facebook Live, and every time I see it, I'm like, yes, yes, because that's what makes my my purpose worthwhile. Like, yes, I've helped somebody else, and they're going on to help other people. And I my kind of main people I help are coaches and therapists, because I love the ripple effect. If I can help coaches and therapists that are struggling with something, they can then go on and get more clients and help more people. So that ripple effect is absolutely huge, and it ripples out. And I love to hear that, oh, after that last week, somebody said, after your boot camp, I went on and spoke to somebody else and they said something. And I remembered what you said about the boot camp. So I repeated it and it's helped them. So thank you very much.
Mm.
And I love that. And I had a stat a few weeks ago that for every person you help, 125 other people that you don't know about are affected in it by some way. And that's what drives me to do what I do, thinking, my goodness, there's so many people out there that I've helped, that I know I've helped. So how many times up by 125? It's having that nice ripple effect throughout the world, so people are feeling better about themselves. And that's what I love, because I know what it feels like to not feel great about yourself. I know what it feels like to feel unworthy, unloved, that you've got no confidence, no power, like I've said before.
Mm.
But I now know what it feels like to have all those things and to feel loved, you know. And I like to get people to actually love themselves. And if
Mhm.
anybody else loves them externally, then that's a bonus. But it's working on actually loving yourself and having that self-worth. That's where the real magic happens.
Yes, yeah. Now, just actually saying that, you've opened up a whole can of worms, haven't you? Because often people say you've got to love yourself first. And it's getting into that, how do you get to love yourself? And I think that we'll have that for another conversation, for, because it is a big one. Now, a couple of things that you said. First of all, you are a grandmother of how many grandchildren?
7 and about to be 8. Number 8 was due yesterday, so anytime now I'll be a grandmother of 8.
That's absolutely amazing. And you mentioned that you're writing a book and you're doing that in
I
90
am, yes,
days. So is the book
I
about this
am.
particular topic?
The book is all about self-sabotage and how we talk to ourselves. So it's entitled, at the moment, I may change the title, but You Can Have It. So it's like think of, and the subtitle is, how to break through your old stories to have the life that you really want. So it goes into about how we talk to ourselves and about why we default to the negative. And it's kind of a how-to book. It'll be what I've done to help to get through my stuff. So go from a little scared girl to be able to stand on stage confidently.
Mm.
And the whole point of the book is that people will read it and actually have a shift while reading the book. And so I'm very excited about doing that. I love writing, so I love challenges. So I've set myself a challenge to have it written and published in 90 days.
Well done. That's brilliant. I'm looking forward to that. Now, if someone wants to work with you, Brooke, how do they get to work with you? And what is it that you would like to offer for our members in the group today?
And they can contact me on Facebook, Brooke Bounds 01. I think if you put in the search bar, I come up. I'm also on LinkedIn, Brooke Bounds on LinkedIn, and or they can contact me on email, which is brooke@brookebounds.com.
Okay,
And then we
wonderful.
can have it, if anybody wants to have a discussion like a one-to-one, I do the complimentary call, and everybody has some sort of breakthrough or aha moment in that complimentary call, because I listen to the words they say and I pick up on something, and we'll work through that on the actual first call. So if anybody is really stuck, or if they're stuck but they don't know what they're stuck on, then feel free to just send me a message on Messenger, ping me, and then we can set up a call and have a chat.
Excellent. Well, I would actually really suggest that any of you that are watching on the live or the replay that you do get in touch with Brooke and just have that conversation, because you never know where that's going to take you and how that's going to impact your life. So if anybody else, I'm just going to finish off now. If anyone wants to have their spotlight session, just send me a message and we'll set that up for you. This is your opportunity to spotlight yourself and your business to our members. They've been great and really enjoying them. Brooke, I would love to talk to you for such a long time, but we haven't got that much time. But we will do some more. We'll definitely do some more, and I can feel that there's something that we can do in terms of perhaps a mini workshop for the members in the group as well, which we can discuss another time. I would let.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I would like to just say thank you so much. This has been truly eye-opening. It's been really it's been good for me, actually. It's been good for me just to think about some of those things. And I want to say thank you, and please just get in touch with Brooke and have that conversation. So thank you
Thank
very
you for
much,
having me. I
Brooke.
really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Lovely. Thank you. All right. I'll send you all of the information. I'll also put Brooke, do you have any links that you would like people to go to, other
Yeah, I
than
can
to
put some
message you?
links in the comments underneath. Yeah.
If you would do that, that'll be lovely. All right then, and I'll get the recording over to you. So thanks very much, and we'll see you all soon. Take care.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.